Hi there, Isha here, and welcome to this episode of Higher Life, where we take concepts that are considered esoteric, spiritual, and new-agey, and show you how you can apply these as practical tools to greatly improve the quality of your life. And in today's episode, I want to talk about a theme that is really core to personal transformation. And this is called, what is living your purpose, or what is your purpose? This is such a dynamic topic. I mean, certainly myself, having worked in this area of personal transformation and life coaching, and seeing the rise in people's interest in their own spiritual maturation, the theme of life purpose or living your purpose is something that gets definitely explored in lots of different ways. And what I want to talk about today is, how does it work in terms of personal empowerment or personal transformation? Now, usually people get interested in their purpose because they're seeking more from their lives. They're either seeking a more enriched experience of the life that they're already living, or perhaps they're feeling extremely lost, or you might be that way, feeling not really confident in themselves, and get this sense that if they could be more purposeful or feel like they have a purpose, their life would feel better. They would feel that they are more valuable within it, and their life would fundamentally shift. And I think there is some truth to this. However, most of us come into this work thinking that purpose is something that you do, or purpose is something that you are in a more material sense. And when I'm talking about material, I mean it's like a job, or it's a profession, or it's a way that you work with people, or a way that you support people. It's an identity. And this is such an important shift to make. We live in a current reality where we think who we are is what we identify with. It is the identity that has been constructed for us. It's the identity we were born into and don't have a lot of control over, such as our gender, the color of our skin, the economic demographics. I mean, there are so many layers of identity in the human relationship system, or the way that we operate as human beings, that we could spend hours and hours and hours unpacking different ways to identify. And the problem with identifying as the problem with creating a sense of self that is based on an identity is that it is somehow outside yourself. So it's something that you identify with, or that somebody has identified in you. And that means that people attach meaning to that identity, and then you get conditioned by the meaning that is attached to that identity. And I can use a very common one, mother. When you become a mother, for example, there is a whole range of identities or stories or themes or mythologies that are attached to this word or this role of mother. And so if I identify as a mother, then I'll start to think, what type of mother do I identify with? And I may start to attach to particular labels like working mum, stay-at-home mum, tiger mum. I mean, there are so many different ways that we can identify as a mother. And then in identifying with that, I kind of lose something. I gain some sort of sense of false power that, oh, I identify, so that's who I am, and that gives me certainty and purpose. But it also then, the loss is that I lose perspective of my uniqueness as a mother. I am a unique human being who is currently operating in the mother role, and how I facilitate that, or how I act as a mother out in the world, is strongly driven by my uniqueness, whether I'm conscious of it or not. So even if I might identify as a tiger mum, let's take that example, I'm still going to be a unique manifestation of that tiger mum. So all this identification is very complicated. It makes our lives complicated. It keeps us playing small. And I think that sometimes that call for wanting purpose, or that call that you might have a purpose, is a kind of unconscious signal that you're not that comfortable with simply living as an identity, and you want to kind of dig deeper and find out who you really are beyond all of that. And that's what we do in this work, personal transformation. And living your purpose, put simply, is living your life through the intention to discover and to enjoy and to embrace your uniqueness in this world. It's that simple, to find out who you are, and that who you are is your unique self. And there's a whole process that you can go through to really get a sense of that uniqueness in you. And there's another layer to purpose, which I think is really important to explore. And this is this exploration of our search for love in the world. I think that a lot of us look for purpose in our lives through relationships, and through romantic relationships, through familial relationships, through parenting relationships. But there is this sense that we are driven by a kind of unrequited love, that we are born into this world seeking love, and that we spend a lot of our time searching for it, thinking that there is somebody out there, or there are relationships out there, or there are experiences out there, especially when we talk about our family of origin. There is a experience of being in a family in which you get that sense of being loved, and then you can feel whole and complete and worthy. And a lot of our self-esteem, I believe, as a species, is still caught up in this confusion about the pursuit of love, that when we are loved by others, when we have experienced human love in a human system, we can finally truly love ourselves. Or that even loving ourselves is some form of romantic, parental, maternal, paternal love. And I've spoken about that a lot in the episodes leading up to this one, about enmeshment, true self, unconditional love. What is this true love that we need to cultivate in our lives to truly experience healthy self-esteem? And I've talked a lot about embracing your uniqueness. So I actually used to believe that one of the purpose, or my purpose, or living my purpose, was about experiencing true love. And I spent a lot of my life, when I look back, seeking out loving relationships, wanting to love and be loved in my relationships. And it has brought me a lot of joy and also a lot of suffering. It hasn't been an easy road. It's helped me grow up and mature. But what I'd say it's done most of all is it's helped me to see the truth that relationships, love, or the way that we understand love, is not the source of our self-esteem, and is actually quite a large distraction. And I think that's getting manifested out in the world when you see, especially with women, a lot of women are breaking down that old mold of, love or a happy ending is finding that perfect someone, getting married, having children, or living in a long-term partnership, even with people of the same sex, however that looks. But the idea that it's that bonding with another, creating a family, or being part of a family or a community or a tribe, that's the story. That's what we're looking for. But you've seen people start to move away from that and not be as preoccupied with marriage and family. It's still there, but there's this been massive shift towards professional success, expressing yourself out in the world professionally or artistically or creatively. But it's that sense of, I want to be seen in the world. And we can see on social media that that's the dominant way that we interact with other people in that environment. It's wanting to be seen and to be heard and to be appreciated by others. And if we look at people who are famous, or our culture of fame, it's about people being celebrated for their contribution creatively or artistically or scientifically. But it's not so much, we're not celebrating the uniqueness of that human being. We're celebrating the contribution that they've made to society. And unfortunately, in our fame culture, that contribution isn't always something that we really do need to be celebrating, or it's not that special. I mean, yes, you can make great films, but it's more that you contribute to an industry that makes a lot of money. That's what creates that fame culture. They need you to be famous to keep generating a kind of popularity that gets people to buy things or anything that you're associated with. So we can see how that fame culture is really distorted, but it gives us real insight, and that insight is really has got me a lot closer to this idea about the true nature of living your purpose. I think we share a single purpose as in humanity, and that is to be celebrated for our uniqueness and to celebrate the uniqueness in ourselves and others. It is a celebration that we're really craving more than this love relationship. We want our purity, our beauty, our uniqueness, our quality of self to be appreciated through the celebration of the uniqueness and not appreciated because we're valuable or not valuable. And that's such an important, powerful yet subtle distinction or discernment to make, because it gives you power today to greatly to greatly improve the experience you have of yourself in your life. If you understand that your purpose is to celebrate your own uniqueness and to celebrate the uniqueness in others, everything becomes really straightforward. The only complicated part, I would say, is that we're not really taught throughout our education system on how to understand what our uniqueness, or how to identify with what our uniqueness is in ourselves, to give a language to it. And we do need language to actually create shared understanding around these things. So that's where obviously archetypes, strengths, there are so many fantastic tools out there right now. VIA character strengths, the archetypes test, lots of ways that we can dig a little deeper beyond obvious identity to get an understanding of our essence nature. And archetypes simply are patterns or essence nature patterns that have shown up continuously over time, the mother being one of them. So the mother may be part of my uniqueness. I might have certain qualities of the mother archetype that are really inherent to my unique essence nature, such as compassion, which is one of the big I believe, attributes of the mother, that pure ability to seek to understand myself and others in a loving, gentle, and open way, so that that person may feel received and I may feel received, and it creates this beautiful intimacy. And the mother is the one that wants intimacy with her children. That is that intimate, pure, open relationship that is completely unattached from outcome. Obviously, all of these things are in an ideal form. I'm not sure that that's how we all operate as mothers in this world. And I use mother because it's one close to my heart. There's obviously the warrior, the student, the mentor. There are so many archetypes that you can dive into that already give you a sense of how do I operate in this world in my very natural way, my true nature or true self. And this living your purpose then is opening up to your life as a source of enrichment that is teaching you how to get closer to this uniqueness. Through challenging relationships, we all want these easy, loving, wonderful fairy tale type relationships, but our relationships are actually designed to help us get closer to our own unique way through diversity, right? It's through conflict with others that we realize we have a difference of attitude or a difference of position or a different viewpoint. And when we can just embrace that and go, oh, that helps me understand my viewpoint in a more intimate way. That helps me understand my unique way of relating to others in a more unique way. And that diversity really helps us get clear on those things. It brings clarity more than it brings conflict. But because we're so unused to viewing our life that way, we're used to viewing our life to seek harmony with others so we can be loved by them, we kind of give up the true power of our relationships. And I know myself that all through my childhood, wanting to fit in with my family and do the right thing for them and be pleasing towards them helped me get loved by them. So it's normal that I would not have thought of celebrating my uniqueness as my primary purpose. I would have thought of being loved by the people around me and fitting in and achieving and performing in that construct so that I am received well would have been my purpose. So the last thing I'll say on living your purpose is all of these things are true. There are layers to living your purpose. Maybe when you're young, living your purpose was about finding your way in to the tribe, to the system, and achieving within it. But there will be a point where that won't be your purpose anymore. And that's a normal part of maturation. We mature into different levels of purpose. And if we mature spiritually, we definitely dive into deeper and deeper levels of purpose. However, if you want to cut to the core, which is what I love to do in my work, I would say that if you go straight to living your purpose is celebrating your uniqueness and celebrating the uniqueness in others, you can bypass probably a lot of the hard work that I've had to go through to reach that epiphany. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you go out today and view your life through this lens of discovering your unique self and celebrating it, and looking at that uniqueness in others and celebrating that, no matter how uncomfortable their position is, or their attitude, or their opinion, or their way of doing things. There is something some sort of beauty in the diversity, and with a right attitude of curiosity, I think that you'll be able to seek that out. I heard this lovely little tip once from one of my leaders or coaching leaders, which is, look for the 2% truth. If you really don't get on with someone, you really can't stand the way that they go about doing things, look for the 2% value in what they do, the 2% truth of what their position might be, and that will help you get closer and more comfortable with celebrating their uniqueness. So I hope this has been helpful. Until next time, take care and love life.